Hello, everybody, and welcome to our live stream. Here we are, a Love and Justice live stream, a Webby party, a Webby voting party. Very excited to be here. Kyle Olson here, the host of Love and Justice, and today I am joined by a very good friend, a friend of the show, and even the editor of the show. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Cody Crabb is with us.
Happy to join you.
Welcome, sir.
It's good to be here. I'm super excited.
This is super exciting. We are here for a very special reason today. And so it's good to be here and spreading the word and telling people about what's happening and, trying to reach as many people we can on all our social media platforms.
Well, and speaking of a very special reason, I happen to notice that you're in a hotel room right now. Aren't you in Italy right now?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I am. I'm currently on a lovely little vacation abroad. Greetings from Tuscany.
Must be nice.
It is actually. It's really nice. It's been absolutely wonderful. I was just in Venice, now in Tuscany. Wow. I think the biggest thing I've learned in Italy so far is that the taste of Italy is nothing like the taste of Italy at Olive Garden.
Well, my only real question is it still like when you're there, your family? Like, is it at least that accurate? Okay.
People here are so friendly. Some of the friendliest people I've met abroad, so that's really exciting. But the reason I'm taking time out of my vacation to be here and joined by the lovely Cody Crabb while it's late here in Italy and it's kind of midday in the States back home is because we are here rallying and campaigning and doing everything we can to get votes for the WEBBYS. You might have heard this if you've been following Kyle and Cody's, social media following. I
haven't shut up about it. I don't know about you.
We may have mentioned it once or twice, maybe just casually. But yeah, needless to say, it's something we're very excited about. It's a very big deal. And because it's such a big deal, I decided to take some time out of my vacation to come on here tonight, joined by Cody and hopefully by so many of you, so that we could have a little bit of a Webby nomination voting party kind of thing. We are up against a stacked competition. And we're going to talk about a little bit of it because I think a lot of people have questions. I know a lot of people have been like, you're nominated. Yay. Congratulations. But also people don't necessarily know all that goes into this. So we're here to answer those questions. We're here to talk to people. We're here to engage. On the bottom, there's a ticker. Text us and we'll answer your questions live on the air. Show us your support and we will give you a shout out live on the air. Tell your friends and we'll let them know. We are here to make this as engaging as possible because we want people to know that this is a big deal and this could do wonders for exposure for the case. This would be an extremely well-deserving award for those who have worked tirelessly on this podcast, including the man next to me, Mr. Cody Crabb.
Says the guy that works the most tirelessly. Like, I know you're singing our praises, but man, like this really was like this. There's no way this could have happened without you. Well, and I you know that, but you know.
No, it's been a really incredible journey, and we've had so many people that have helped us on this. People that have participated, people that have worked behind the scenes. It's not easy to come forward and share And so that's been a really special thing to see as well here. And so we're celebrating all of that today. We're answering questions, and we're encouraging people to get out the vote. And the reason we're doing that is because it's a very important vote and it's a stacked competition. The Webbies include A-list names. These are big names that are coming to the table. One of the biggest of which is in our category. We are nominated against a podcast called the Dead Eyes Podcast, and it's a very lovely podcast. Our particular category is the best individual episode, and we'll get more into that in a minute. But we're up against an episode that features Tom Hanks. It doesn't get much bigger than that.
Well, I know. Well, and you also failed to mention that one of the other creators in our group is Netflix, actual like real official Netflix check mark.
Netflix,
yeah,
us, the little guys, But this is also something that is kind of exciting, right? Like everybody loves an underdog story, and here's what's crazy: we've been going back and forth with this other podcast between first and second place, and it is so close.
It actually is close. Yeah,
we're talking votes apart. The Webbies emailed me the other day and said that there have been Webby categories in the past that have won or lost by one vote.
Oh my gosh, don't do this to me.
That's how close it is.
I'm checking this like 5 or 6 times a day. Like I'm always like, if I'm with someone that I haven't been with in a while, I'm like, hand me your phone, like real fast, just hand me your phone,
Right?
Just go to the website. Like it really is neck and neck, but it also is like, it's going back and forth, and it really is just by a few votes. I think what are we, 1%?
We're literally 1% off, but usually we're even within the percentage, and it's one person's ahead, one person's behind, and it switches daily. We've got a week left. This ends at just before midnight on April 20th, so we don't have much time left, which is why we're coming out this weekend to celebrate and to talk about it and to talk to people and to see what we can do to kind of get folks going. So with that, what I wanted to kind of do first was talk a little bit about like, what is a Webby Award and why is it so important? And for this, I thought it might be fitting to have Cody speak a little bit to it, because you're the guy that works mostly with podcasts. So it makes sense for you to, talk about it.
Well, I will say this is the first time I've ever worked with someone who has been nominated for a Webby, so that's amazing. But the other thing too is, you just popped in for that. But the Webbies are like, if you're not familiar, it's kind of like the Oscars or the Grammys, where there's kind of an academy where they have like a group that is like the elitist elite in the field, and it's a podcast, internet content, kind of anything online really. Started in like 1995-ish, and they just do awards for kind of the best internet content there is. And I kind of think that the category we're in is one of the coolest, because it's like we're in for an individual piece of content, not just for like us being awesome. Like it's for this exact, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying, right? Like this exact episode was nominated because this episode was good, not just like, oh, you have a good podcast. Like I love that we got singled out for that episode. But this really is a big deal. Like it's one of those things where, I mean, if you want to tell a story of how you even like submitted us, like I remember when we were kind of like, well, I guess we'll try.
Yeah. I mean, the way I kind of recall it going down, and you can correct me or keep me honest when it comes to how true the story is. But I remember that we were kind of coming to the end of the podcast, and it was around award season time, just kind of fittingly enough. And there was a few podcast or a few awards shows that I had my eyes on, one of which definitely was the Webbies. There's another called the True Crime Awards and a few other smaller ones. And I had reached out to you saying, hey, I'm thinking about submitting to the Webbies. What do you think? And your immediate response was like,
I did. I totally did. I said, I was like, it's really expensive to nominate, to get to enter.
Yeah,
it's like really, it's really hard to actually get a look because there's so much internet content. And on top of that, like, it seems like they just go to the big dogs always. So you're absolutely right. I was like, no, I wouldn't even try. And it's a good thing you didn't listen to me.
Yeah, I mean, there were 14,000 entries, I think, is what the WEBBYS said.
Are you serious? I didn't know that.
All over the country, from all over the world. Sorry, not just the country. And like you said, a lot of them are A-listers because let's face it, they're the ones that pull in a lot of the rankings and the ratings and the what have you. But there are also a lot of folks like us out there pulling their weight as well. Wow. Which is kind of cool. So it's neat to see the melting pot, and it's neat to see what we're up against. You know, it's a cliche phrase. We hear it all the time, right? But it is just an honor to be nominated, especially in the presence of such good company. I mean, to be in a category with Tom Hanks, wow, wow, wow. You know,
amazing.
Could we ask for better company? I don't think so.
Well, that my first thought was the one person you don't want to get in an internet voting context against, except maybe like Keanu Reeves is like universally loved online. But really though, like it's like almost a joke how much people love that guy. So like, man, it's just
we've got steep competition, right? We've got a lot of steep competition, but hopefully we've got a lot of steam in our engine still, and we have proven ourselves so far. Like we said, it's been neck and neck. It really has been a very, very, very tight race. And that is why we're here, is because people can watch us live. We can answer questions. We can throw out shout outs. But also, people can watch us after the fact, too, and they can be more informed and learn and whatnot. So before we talk a little bit more about what exactly it is like we're nominated for the particular episode, let's talk about the big reason we're here, right? How do we do it? How do you vote? Well, in the descriptions on all the social channels where we're streaming live right now, there's a link. The first step in this process, it's a 5-step process. It's very easy, is you click on the link. Go figure. From there, you click vote on the Love and Justice. It's got our icon, the one you see there on the left. You click vote. And from there, it's going to ask you to sign up to vote. And from there, you're going to create an account, which you can link with any of your socials, your Googles, your Facebooks, your Twitters, all that kind of stuff, which is very exciting. And then from there, the most important step, you have to confirm the account. This is a critical step because if you do not confirm the account, the vote does not count. You can't just put in a garbage email and then, send it to your spam box or whatever. That's not how it works. You have to confirm it. This is not to get you on secret mailing lists. This is not to sign up for spam. This is to validate the votes because the WEBBYS are kind of prestigious and they want to make sure that the people's choice are going to the things that the people choose and not just to a bunch of robots and whatnot. So it's critical that people actually confirm this as well.
Well, and we're literally talking about go to your email, click the link, and then you're done.
And then you're done.
Yeah, that's all it is. Yeah.
I was talking to my mom the other day, and she was like, yeah, I haven't gotten spam. I haven't gotten anything. It was that easy. I clicked on the thing, and it was confirmed, and I saw the vote go on, and that was that. And that it is truly that easy. That is all we're asking for people to do. Cody, when you voted, how long do you think it took you?
I'm not even joking. I actually counted because I wanted to say how long it took me. It took me, well, I didn't have to confirm it because I voted for WEBBYS before. But literally 10 seconds to click on the thing, select Love and Justice, and then it would have taken me, 3 more seconds to go into my email app and click a link.
Link it with your, because nowadays, like the best part is like, do you want to sign in manually or do you want us to do it for you via literally any form of social media?
If my Google account ever is taken away from me somehow, I am in very big trouble.
Big trouble because I don't know how to log in. Without my Apple IDs and Facebooks and all that. Yeah. So that's how simple it is. That is literally how simple this is. But for a minute here, let's talk about what exactly it is that we're nominated for. You kind of mentioned it earlier. We're nominated in the Best Individual Episode category. And it is for episode 12, for those of you that were listening throughout the entire season. This episode is entitled Shit Went Down. And that's because, well, shit went down. Not just in the episode, but it was really kind of the pinnacle point in the series. I remember vividly as we were going through the process, Cody and I were obviously talking lots because he was editing the next episode. I was kind of getting the last little details for the next episode, sending it off to him, and we were kind of in a ping pong back and forth as he was going throughout the episodes. And I don't know, probably around episode 5 or 6, I was like, Cody, we're going to do this episode 12, episode 12, episode 12. It's going to be the biggest thing since sliced bread. It's going to be so amazing.
We're going to win awards. I think
it's going to be the episode.
Before you had a title, I actually literally remember you titling it "The Best Episode."
yeah.
So
that was in our script. It was like the best episode ever. This is going to be the episode. And the reason is because it really brings to life Ashley, I think, in a very special way. And it really brings to life the timeline. It really shows off our best kind of investigative skills. And it ties together an entire season worth of interviews. Throughout the entire season, we talk to Ashley's friends, colleagues, coworkers, family members, and each of them gave us nuggets. We got a little nugget of info over here. We got a little nugget of info over here. And in episode 12, we were able to take all of these interesting factoids and things that we've learned and put them together in an episode that is based on concrete evidence that we're not sure necessarily how deeply this was looked into by the Milwaukee Police Department back in the day, right? So I think that's what's so very interesting to me about this episode is that this is literally taking Ashley's word right out of her own, taking the words out of her mouth, quite literally. Because that's what this was. We even had some incredible voice actors that joined us, one of which played Ashley in the episode and her actual Facebook statuses, and then many others that played other people that would interact with her on social media, and that was pretty special. Especially special for you because I believe one of those was your wife. Is that right?
Yeah, I was like, I had a few friends that they're like audio people, so they got the equipment and whatever. Sure, I can read a couple lines for you. And I was short one person, and I was like, hey Amanda, can you just, it was like one word or something. I was just kind of like, can you just hurry and just real quick. Yeah. And so it was actually really cool, because when I did have people do this, especially the actor for Ashley, whose name was Rachel, a friend of mine, I was kind of like, I gave the rundown of the case, and it was kind of one of those whoa, right? I'm actually bringing this to life. It was cool. Even just this tiny little part of reading the Facebook timeline is I think that part right there is easily for me the highlight of the whole series. That kind of ramp up to the actual event was just so powerful, I think.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's interesting because, again, it's the culmination of the entire season, right? Where throughout this entire season, we've been hearing different people talking different theories. We put them all together in one. We listen to what people have to say. We kind of cross-check. We kind of match where the stories, the dots connect, right? And we finally put it together kind of on a silver plate for the audience to say, how about that? And it also stems off of a huge tip that we get at the very beginning of the episode from a close friend of Ashley's, Heather Watson. So shout out to Heather, because without that tip, without her going back to her old Facebook page, we would not have had that huge tip at the very beginning of that episode, which really kind of kicks things off and gives us this incredible momentum for what is really a very special episode. So kind of cool there, right?
Yeah, I gotta agree there. That really was in the kind of the catalyst to get this episode. That one tip was, I think, that kind of comes off of that.
That one, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, once I got that tip, that's when it was, this is the episode. It's almost cliche to say it came to me in a dream, but kind of, right?
Yeah.
It's well, how do I connect this and this and this and this and this? And so I slept on it, woke up, and was like, I know. And that's when I was like, we're going to have this episode. It's going to be the best episode ever. We're going to have voice actors. We're going to have all this kind of stuff. And then we came together and did it. So for those of you that are just joining our stream, I see some people popping in here. Very exciting. We're talking about everybody's favorite thing, which is Webby nominations. If you're joining us, we'd love for you to vote for us. It's as easy as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That doesn't roll off the tongue point as well. But we just need votes, guys. We are neck and neck with Tom Hanks. We are literally in second place, by a matter of a few votes.
We
And
must defeat the Hanks.
we have to defeat Tom Hanks. You have no idea how badly you want to defeat Tom Hanks.
And Netflix. We always
Netflix. Yeah.
we don't mention we haven't mentioned Netflix as much as Tom Hanks, but like Netflix, also Netflix.
We have incredible competition across the board, and we would like to beat them all, frankly, because they're all worthy opponents. They're all incredible names. They're all wonderful podcasts, and we want to beat them all. And so we're very, very, very excited to be here, to have the opportunity to do so, and to be this close. We are this close. We've got just a few more days of voting. Voting ends April 20th. It is April 15th here in Italy for another 2 hours, and for a little bit longer back in the States. But we need y'all to help us, to vote, to share, to retweet, to send it to your friends. One of my favorite things to do when I need votes is to think about all the people in my life that I know that know other people that they can share it with. So I've been reaching out to all of my former high school teachers, specifically the ones that have computer applications classes, that
Brilliant.
learning how to use iPads and WEBBYS and all that kind of stuff, because what an incredible learning opportunity and a nice way to support an alma mater.
That's a good way to phrase it, so that it's not completely
an
self-serving
from the alma mater, right? But this is kind of the definition of thinking outside the box, isn't it? Right? We have to think of like, well, who else can we reach out to? Who else knows somebody that we can reach out to, that we can say, hey, can you help us with some votes? Do you have people at your church that you bake bread with on Sundays? Maybe ask them, hey, do you have 30 seconds to spare?
If you're in a Facebook group or a subreddit or something about true crime podcasts, and you think, I think as far as I'm aware, we're the only true crime podcast in this category. If I'm not mistaken.
The only true crime podcast in this category. Right?
Yeah. So that would be a great, hey, support true crime. Get them to win this. So it's just kind of thinking about who's in front of you on social media or in real life, and kind of go like, how many Google accounts do you have? Oh, no, but really like it's about like who you can reach out to that you could be like, hey, let's do this. Let's band together and do it.
Yeah. Absolutely. No, it's huge, right? Like this is an incredibly important step in the process, is finding the votes, finding people that can do this. I'm seeing people that are logging in and they're watching us right now. If you're watching this and you're like, oh yeah, I haven't done that yet, I haven't voted. What are you waiting for? This is the time. Takes 30 seconds. We'll be here when you get back. It's totally fine. And we can continue to answer questions or help however we can. We have somebody here. Look at this. I think I can share this comment. Look at this. Chris Beiser coming in saying, we're behind you. We love that. We love that support.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you, Chris. There's another one. This one doesn't say who it's from, but I love it nonetheless. A Facebook user.
Hi, Facebook user.
Says, hi, Kyle and Cody, which is wonderful. So that's great. Hello to you all. I actually think some people are texting the hotline right now, which is exciting. So I want to look at the texts that are coming in. But while I do that, I'm going to play the clip that aired on Fox 6 Milwaukee when the podcast was just starting up. It's about a 2-minute clip.
Oh, I don't think I've even seen this. I can't wait to see it.
Well, then maybe it'll be fun for you to watch. So Take a peek at this. If you're just joining us, we're going to show a quick little clip from Fox 6 Milwaukee when Love and Justice started up at the end of last year. And then when we come back, we're going to talk more about how to vote for us for the WEBBYS. We're having a Webby nomination party, and it's just getting started. So stay right here. Check this out. More of your questions and comments after this. Look at
13 years ago, a family says an intruder came into their home, shot and killed a 19-year-old, and got away, and still they have no answers or justice.
Madeline O'Neill is here with why Ashley Love's family have renewed hope that her killer will be found.
Yeah, Ashley Love's homicide is considered a cold case, but her loved ones find hope in telling her story. Today, a new podcast about her case was released in hopes it will help bring long-awaited answers.
Even in a quiet cemetery.
This is the first time I've been here since the burial.
Peace
brings a lot of memories back.
Can be hard to find.
She would have gone far.
But never far away is love for Ashley Love.
She brought people up. That's part of what we loved about her.
Austin Geiger says he could hardly find the words when he learned what happened to his friend and coworker 13 years ago.
Like, what? she doesn't know. Like, she doesn't hang out with a crowd that would bring that sort of thing around her.
Love's family says she was killed by an intruder in the early morning hours of October 6, 2009, shot to death while she was sleeping in her bedroom near 64th and Hampton.
I love talking about Ashley. Not that night, but I love talking about her.
Her mother, Tammy Love,
She just was always happy.
has watched seasons change, 13 years worth,
It's always who, why.
without ever getting those answers.
They would, come up with different scenarios, like was it the wrong house, that kind of type. Was it a robbery?
I still find myself shaking my head in disbelief.
Out of LA, Kyle Olson talked to family and friends about their theories in his podcast, Love and Justice.
It really spans the gauntlet of everything your imagination can possibly comprehend.
Olson knows how important the search for justice is to loved ones, himself included. He grew up in South Milwaukee and was best friends with Love's brother.
And understand that it has been 13 years, and now is the time to say something.
They hope more talk about the case will turn something up.
It'll help to get us through the rest of our lives.
To help put fears to rest and uncover some peace.
That would mean a lot. Finally bring some sense of closure.
Police tell us today they are still looking for whoever did this, asking anyone with information, no matter how small or insignificant it may seem, to call them. Love's family hopes this podcast can help police with the case by bringing it to the forefront again. And you can find that podcast called Love and Justice anywhere you listen to podcasts.
Hopefully this jostles someone's memory. All right.
There you have it. What a clip, huh?
That's cool.
Did you not see that before? That was your first time?
No, I've never actually seen that before.
Yeah. That was on Fox 6 Milwaukee, which one of the bigger news outlets in Milwaukee, and that came out as we premiered our very first episode, which is very, very cool, and definitely gave us a nice kickstart, which was amazing. So thank you to Fox 6 for that. And I mean, how great was Austin in that, right? As a friend of Ashley's, speaking, his heart like that. And obviously, of course, Tammy, the mother, who we feature throughout the entire podcast, to talk about, how brave she is and just how incredible. It's not easy to share your story on a podcast, period, much less when it's this kind of content,
something
right?
like this. Yeah, man.
It's tough. And she did it with such dignity and grace, and every time was willing to do whatever it takes. She kind of reminds me, and many others, I know Noelle and I have talked about this before, of a female John Walsh, from America's Most Wanted, where there's like this fire in the belly, right? And that's very much
never given up. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's it, right? We're never going to give this up. We're going to keep doing that. We're going to keep fighting. And just like she's continuing to fight for justice, we're going to keep fighting to get the word out. We're going to keep fighting to get this as much attention as we can. And one of the great ways of doing that is with a Webby, of course. We're nominated
national
for a
attention.
Webby. National attention. This would be a huge ceremony in New York City that would bring national attention to this case that kind of really deserves more national attention, so that maybe we can finally get justice for this. We've got some questions.
Nice.
Look at this. And also, wow, look at this. Chris Beiser coming in here, got back on Facebook so we can share. My wife has passed away, who was her teacher.
Wow.
I remember this. Mrs. Beiser was Ashley's, I believe it was kindergarten teacher, who, when we did Letters to Ashley, which was a documentary about Ashley Love and kind of how it impacted the community. Mrs. Beiser, Ashley's, I think it was elementary school teacher, read a letter to Ashley in the piece. It was absolutely it was wonderful. So thank you, Chris.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, Chris.
For joining us and for bringing up Mrs. Beiser's memory. We're thrilled to have you here with us and supporting us. We have some texts that have been coming in.
Oh, nice.
The first one here, I like this text. It says, "What inspired you to create the Love and Justice podcast?" Which is a big question that I've been asked a few times. And really for me, it stems back to the fact that obviously I knew this family growing up. People probably don't realize, maybe to the extent, but if you listen to the first episode, you would know. Here's a throwback photo.
Oh, look at that.
Back to July of 2001. I was in middle school, and I was in a student ambassador program called People to People that went to Australia, as seen here in Sydney.
Okay, hold up. Which one are you? We need to find Kyle
okay,
in here.
so if you look at the picture, in the very back row where all the tall kids of the day would stand.
Second from the right.
Still got the same smile and the same glasses. So second to the right is me, and on the far right in the back is Anthony. And so that's Anthony and I. That is where we met. We met on the student ambassador program, and once we met in that student ambassador program, we became fast friends. And it developed into this really, really lovely friendship throughout the years. This is us a few years later at not quite the same Sydney Opera House, but a Lego Sydney Opera House, which I think still kind of counts. This was actually right after I moved out to Los Angeles after graduating high school. So definitely a few years after we first met, when we had just gotten out of 6th grade in middle school, which is kind of cool. And then here's a picture of Anthony and I on his wedding day up in Wausau, Wisconsin.
Man, that is a heck of a mustache. Go, Anthony.
Oh my gosh. I've teased Anthony for years that he has, do you remember the Sonic the Hedgehog games with the
That's all you had to say. He's Roger Robotnik.
I would occasionally call him Eggman because that was his that was the nickname of Dr. Robotnik.
That's so good.
And now it's even more prolonged and bushy and just out to here. It's like he's got broomsticks under his nose. Yeah, it's incredible.
I will say that is one of the side effects of doing a podcast is that like I'm sometimes stuff like this is I am seeing people for the first time. Yeah. Really? Yeah. Like it's cool to like see like seeing Austin on that video. I think that's the first time I've actually seen him. So
it's also interesting because I know this has happened to a friend of mine who has helped edit some of our video pieces before, and he talks about how he's very used to editing and seeing these people day in and day out nonstop, right? And then he's like, my biggest fear in life is that I'm going to be like in the grocery store one day and I'm going to see somebody that I've been editing for 2 months straight, and I'm going to wave and be like, hi, how's it going? And they're going to be like, who are you? And it's like, oh
my gosh. That is so true.
Like, no idea who he is, but he's like, I've been seeing your face for the last 2 months.
Yeah, I definitely, I can completely relate to that. I think if I ran into Tammy somewhere, I wouldn't know even what she looked like, but the voice, I'd be like, the voice, that's Tammy. That's right? Tammy's voice. Yeah.
And it's interesting how everybody has such, especially in this podcast, very distinct voices.
Yeah,
right?
that is true, actually.
That kind of, really stimulates something. So that's very cool. We have another comment coming in. This is very cute. I love how occasionally it's just masked behind an anonymous Facebook user thing, but how cute is this emoji, huh? Oh,
I think that was when you showed that picture, the original one.
Yeah, of us. Yeah. Here, I'll put it back up so that it actually has some context. This one. Oh, yeah. How cute is that? Right? I like to also think that they're giving their with their little teary eyes. For voting.
Definitely. That's definitely what's happening.
Let's not forget. That is why we're here. We are voting. We're voting for a Webby. We're having a Webby voting party. If you're watching this and you haven't voted yet, a lot of you are liking, a lot of you are watching. Some are watching and then jumping off and then coming back, which we love all of those things. But please, please, please consider giving us a vote and talking to people to give us votes for the Webby. We are nominated for a Webby. We're in a stacked category. We're against Netflix. We're against Tom Hanks. We're against some incredible competition. And we are currently in second place. We are trailing by less than 1%. Right now, it's very, very close. We were in first, then we were in second. Then we were in first, then we were in second. We keep trading positions.
It's
and it
so
could
close.
Be closer.
It doesn't say the exact vote count, but I can't imagine it's very much at all because of how much we've been.
One day where I had a friend of mine, I texted a friend. I said, "Hey, can you vote?" It was at we were in second place, and then when he voted, he's like, "You're in first." And I was like, well, not for long. If we don't, we cannot take this for granted, right? And I think that's a big thing too. Sometimes people will see it and be like, oh, they're so close. Oh, they're in first, or oh, they're in second. They're almost there. Every vote's going to count in this one. We are really in the fight of our lives to get as many votes as we can. So it's very, 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 very important that people vote, right? This is a big deal. We have another text coming in. Hold on. Stand by.
Oh, nice.
Let's see what this has to say. This one says, what do you think sets the Love and Justice podcast apart from other podcasts, including the one nominated with Tom Hanks? That's a good question.
I admittedly I have not actually listened to that. Did you listen to it?
I have not listened to it yet. I know the premise of Dead Eyes.
Gotcha. I didn't even do that. Can you share?
So the loose premise of Dead Eyes is that there was an actor who is most well known for comedy acting, and he was going to be in Band of Brothers, but right before they started shooting, apparently, so the legend goes, Tom Hanks came in and said, "I don't want him in the cast. He has dead eyes." And he got let go from the cast of Band of Brothers, which obviously went on to be a huge show, Emmy Award winning and what have you. And so he started this podcast to interview people and ask about, like, is it me? Do I have dead eyes? And it's by this a well-known comedian, and it's a funny premise and a cool thing. And so, of course, a few seasons in, now they were able to get the word out enough to get Tom Hanks on, where they can confront each other, which is compelling content. I must say,
it's very compelling. Only slightly less compelling than Love and Justice, episode 12, I would say, but it's still very compelling.
I don't know, a few percent points. Maybe?
yeah, maybe about 1% less compelling.
That's what we're up against. We are up against the most likable man on the internet with one of the most beloved internet comedians, and Band of Brothers and HBO and Steven Spielberg
and Netflix
and basically the entire world against us small little folks that had a first season podcast that did incredibly well, that spanned the globe. We were talking literally hours ago. I was sitting down at dinner, and I texted. Do you remember what number it was? I have to look it up again. We are in the, I think it's top 25 in.
It was 18.
Number 18 in Iceland. We are currently number 18 on the true crime charts in Iceland.
That's so cool.
Ago, we were in the top 15 in Egypt. We've been in the top 50 in Japan. We've been in the top 50 in Australia, back where Anthony and I met. We've been in the top 100 in Canada. In over 10 countries, we made the top 25 or top 50, which is insane.
Well, and I will say, like, what's our share our rank in general too, because that's nothing to sneeze at either.
Our rank in general?
Like our on the charts, like where we peaked here in the U.S.
Oh, in the U.S., where did we peak in the U.S.? It was like 26. It was like right underneath the top 25.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
which was pretty incredible. Like, we didn't quite get the top 25, but we were like literally number 26, which is pretty good for a first season podcast. You know,
for big time
swinging, right? Not bad. This is, a culmination of a lot of things, a lot of hard work, a lot of people sharing their hearts, sharing their stories. This is a tough thing to do. This is a tough thing to share. And you've got all these people that are coming together to share these stories. And it's incredibly touching and incredibly, moving to see these people doing these very brave things and getting out there and, sharing what they think happened in this unsolved, now 13-year cold case.
Absolutely.
For Ashley Love. So the more we can get out there and get the word and get some nationwide attention behind a Webby nomination and maybe a Webby win, the better we have an opportunity to get this case even more nationwide appeal, so that people can hopefully finally put the spotlight on this and getting this solved.
And famously, I was just real fast. I was going to say famously, like sometimes when a case gets attention like this is exactly when stuff gets solved.
You literally took the words out of my mouth. I was gonna say that oftentimes we see in the crime fighting community, if you will, that the squeaky wheel often gets the grease, right?
Yeah, big time.
And not only the squeaky wheel, but the one that has the spotlight on it, because it does have the spotlight on it. And it's the case that came from 10 years ago, 15 years ago, whatever it is, because it's what people are talking about. Listen, we get it. We understand why this case is where it's at. We understand the politics and we understand how we got to this point. It's not easy. It's an ugly story of how through the years, everything kind of got stacked up, and it's become very difficult for the Milwaukee Police Department to give this case the time and attention that it deserves. But oftentimes what you see is when people come in like this is where you get that final boost, that final push, and nationwide attention could really do something incredible for this.
Yeah, I mean, look at Up and Vanished. I mean, that's the case of Tara Grinstead was actually solved after the podcast was started. And I mean, it's not a direct, like, it was like the podcast that did it, but I am convinced that the guy turned himself in because he was like, it's closing in. It's 100%. And so, I mean, imagine if that happened because of this.
That's why true crime has become such a big deal in the podcasting community. There have been multiple podcasts, Serial, obviously another.
Of course, yeah.
Example. But there are so many out there. Countdown to Capture that Long Beach Police Department did. There are so many cases where they have, we see this happening time and time again. People are solving true crime with these podcasts, right? Because we see it all over. It's not just exclusive to the Milwaukee Police Department. They are struggling across the country to solve cold cases. And so this is a great way to be able to give it exposure and detectives and everything that you need to be able to actually bring this all together.
Definitely, yeah.
Another question we have coming in here. This one says, how has the podcast impacted the lives of the people that you've interviewed? That's a good question. I think we both have different answers for this. I'll let you answer first on this one, and then I kind of have my own answer here, but I want to look at what else is coming in here.
Yeah, sure. So the thing is, like, I mean, I didn't actually do any interviews, but it was it was interesting to kind of be a fly on the wall and kind of hear like the people talking, it kind of behind the scenes stuff that wasn't going to be in the podcast, kind of the small talk and things like that. And the thing that I got from everybody is like how grateful they were that this was going to be a thing. I think because it was just like, we need something, we need some people to hear this. We need it because it's just, when you get a cold case that's this old, just what do you like, what's left? Like, what can you do other than just tell more people? And hopefully something pops up that you weren't expecting, but that's the kind of the only thing left is just to, and I mean, you mentioned that's, one of the reasons that you wanted to start this was because it was, well, that's what you got to do. Like, what else can I do? I'm using my talents. Like, I have my talents that I can contribute. So I'm just going to try. And I think a ton of people that you talked to, certainly even on and off the podcast, were like, thank you so much for doing this. This has been, I think it's even just the comfort of knowing like people are hearing this. I don't know, but I feel like that could really help. Like, I can't really put my finger on why, but just like, just someone hearing this and maybe empathizing a little bit, I think it's everything, really.
Yeah. It is something where, obviously we talked about this with Tammy on the podcast, off the podcast, kind of everywhere in between, that like, it's hard when a case has been unsolved for 13 plus years, because you do start to wonder, is anybody listening?
Right. Yeah.
Right. And I think one of the beautiful things that I know Tammy got out of it, we talked about this in our final episode, is that people do care. People are still listening. People are still willing to fight. People are still willing to share the stories. People are still willing to do this, and, one of the things that I hoped going into this podcast was that, when this happened to Ashley, she was 19 years old. Most of her colleagues, her classmates, her friends were 19, 18 years old, just out of high school.
Yeah.
And, that's a scary time for something like this to be happening, where police are in your face and, oh my gosh, I don't want to say anything. I don't want to talk about that party where there might have been a beer or some
Right.
marijuana or something.
Right.
Now, when we're all older, we're like, but back then felt like the
Yeah.
center of a universe, right? And so that was something that I hoped would happen and that we saw happen, is that people have grown up, people have matured, people have kids now, people are married now, and so it changes perspective when the people that were 18, 19 years old are now in their 30s having kids of their own, thinking,
Yeah.
God, if this was me and this was my daughter, like, what would I do? I would go at the same lengths Tammy's gone to. I would do the news. I would do a podcast. I'd do whatever it took to get justice.
Well,
right?
and I mean that you bring up a really good point, which is I remember being 19. Like I was a moron, and I didn't, what I mean? Like I thought I knew everything.
You thought
and
you knew everything. Yeah. Right.
Also, here's an interesting fact. She graduated in 2009, right?
Yes.
So I graduated in 2010. So the whole time I've been making this podcast, I'm just like, we're like the same age. Like she would be my age right now.
I graduated in 2007, not that far off. Like,
yeah, it's just one of those, like, it's kind of weird to just think about, like, we would be the same age basically right now. So
yeah, and you're a father, so you think about these things, right? Where it's just, again, it really does put things in perspective, and it's interesting to see. And we've seen on this podcast, and like you said, some of it hasn't even made the final cuts, but how this has gone throughout, and there is something very therapeutic about being able to just have somebody to listen and have somebody to tell, and we text a lot of these people even still, and they have questions, or they'll talk to Tammy if they think about something, or whatever the case might be. It's kind of neat to see that the podcast has created a bit of a sense of community. And this community is something that actually started before the podcast. There was a documentary that came out that I did years ago called Letters to Ashley. And in that, there was a very moving song that was created by Charlie Seats, easy for me to say, and Jamie Thine. And it really speaks to the power of the community, in particular to the letter writing that happened after Ashley was taken from us. And it's a very moving piece. And I thought, as we're kind of here and as we're ramping up votes and getting people to spread the word and what have you, that we might share a little bit of that music video while I go check in on some of the other comments that are coming in. So here's a little peek at the Dear Ashley song that played in the podcast in episode 1, but also featured in Letters to Ashley. So take a look at this.
Have you felt the loss of losing someone you love? Maybe their friend that got away, or maybe someone that forgot to pray. Ashley, you held the key that was taken away from me. Oh, I wrote you this song so you will never be gone. Let us see you. Are made to come and go, but I guess we'll never know. No, life's too short to know what will be, so live life, be free, be all you can be. Oh. this song so you will never be gone. Let us to you, dearest lady, dearest lady. Dearest lady, dearest lady.
There you have it, Dear Ashley. What a beautiful! I haven't watched that in years, but oh gosh, it just the way that Elliot put that together, where he has the flashbacks and the people. That
Yeah.
are
Yeah, I haven't seen that either. That was the first time I've seen that.
yeah, you've heard the song, but you haven't probably seen the music.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely stunning. For those of you that are just joining us, we are celebrating Ashley, and we are celebrating our Webby nomination. Let's just put this up on the screen. We are nominated for a Webby, Best Individual Episode, and we're looking for votes, and we're not shy about it. We've been talking about it. Cody's been sharing it. I've been sharing it. The rest of our crew's been sharing it. The people that were involved with the podcast, both in front of the microphone and behind it, have all been sharing it, and we are neck and neck. We are so very close. We are in second place right now, but literally a percentage is all that keeps us, and we've been bouncing back and forth. I've been in first, or we've been in first, and then I look, and then all of a sudden we're in second, and then I look again, and we're in first place. It really has been a back and forth race, and that's why we're coming on here today, is to give a little bit of a plea and a little bit of a, hey, you guys, on your Saturday afternoons in the United States, what are you doing? What are you up to for the next 30 seconds? If you got 30 seconds to spare, why don't you go and give us a vote for the Webbies?
You've already been watching this for 30 seconds at least, so you clearly don't have anything better to do.
I literally see the eyeballs as we speak. I see people watching us right now. If you're watching us and saying, oh yeah, I should do that, you should do it right now.
If you're at your grandma's house and watching on your phone and she has her iPad right there, yeah, hey grandma, what's your Google account? Like, let's do this.
Yeah. I like to think about all the people that I can reach. We talked about this a little bit earlier, but like, what are big groups that I know? You talked about hijacking Facebook groups that you're admins and moderators.
Yeah, they're completely unrelated. Like, hey, here's this thing. Yeah,
it's a wonderful way to spike engagement, and we're here for it. But it's a numbers game, folks. It's people's choice. We're this close, and we really want to be able to do this for a number of reasons. Obviously, first and foremost is because it does bring nationwide exposure to the Ashley Love case, which is something that this case, frankly, is so desperately in need of, and has been for a while.
Yeah.
But on top of that, it's also kind of a celebration and an ode to all of those who worked on it. People like Cody Crabb, who you're seeing here with me, the editor of Love and Justice, and as well as people that have all come on and joined us throughout the entire season. One of the things that probably maybe not everybody realizes is that this has been in the works for years. We actually started talking about this pre-COVID. Which I feel like these days is kind of like the BCAD, like before COVID thing.
BC before COVID.
Yeah, before COVID, right? And that's really the case here. We've been talking about this for years. Literally, this has been an idea that formulated into more than an idea, to some recordings, to the, hey, we're going to start doing more than just one thing here, one thing there, to, in the height of COVID, we said, let's go. Let's start interviewing everybody we can.
That's when you started. I'm not sure I knew that. You started during.
I mean, the big push was when COVID started, because it was like, well, everyone's at home right now. Nobody can tell me.
Hey, good point. That's a good point.
Like, oh, well, I can't get to a studio. That's fine. You can do it right from your computer. That's what we said. We said you can do it right from your computer.
That's great.
And that's what we did. It's cool. Check this out. There's some behind the scenes. There's me with my stun to look on, my stunning face. I'm like, it looks like I just learned something, very interesting, perhaps. But that was us in the studio recording it. There's me taking some really charming notes. It looks like being a very good listener on the phone.
Oh, definitely.
Real good listening. And then this is probably my favorite photo.
That's good.
Because if you listen to the podcast, you know what a big deal Arby's is for a number of reasons. The Love family worked at Arby's. The whole thing basically takes place at Arby's. We were really, really hoping that Arby's would sponsor us, but that's not why I was eating this. It's just because when you start talking about Arby's and you talk about the Love family, you talk about Ashley, you talk about Anthony, Tammy, Joe, the whole family, you really do get in an Arby's state of mind.
I will say I have an Arby's kind of somewhat close to my house, and every time I drive past it, I'm always like, "Hey, Ashley worked at Arby's."
Think of it, right?
Yeah, every single time.
Yeah, that Arby's used to have a campaign. Now we're giving Arby's free sponsorship, but Arby's used to have a campaign back around the time that I was in high school, hanging out with Anthony every other weekend. We were doing sleepovers and stuff, and the campaign was called "I'm Thinking Arby's." And so I feel like for me, it's like I'm thinking Arby's anytime I'm talking about the case.
Yep.
I'm talking about Ashley. I'm talking to Anthony. I'm listening to Tammy and Joe, whatever the case might be. And so that is 100%.
Well, and this is 100% true. My wife just texted me, who is watching, and she said, "Hey, do you want to get Arby's for dinner?"
Stop it! She did not.
She did. That really happened.
See, it's like
it's contagious. Yeah,
falling down upon us. Arby's, if you're listening, just give us some votes. We just need that Webby win. We just need that Webby. We're so very close, and with your help and some curly fries, we can get there.
I think that's solid enough for a little retweet.
Yeah, right. Why not? Right? That should be. I mean, come on. When you look at that photo, you just think. I mean, my gosh.
Yeah.
The curly
you know what I'm
fries.
thinking? You know what I'm thinking?
Justice.
I was gonna say I'm thinking Arby's. I'm thinking justice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, kind of both, right?
Really,
You can
yeah.
Have your cake and eat it too, I suppose, or have your Arby's and eat it too, I guess. Yeah. That's silly. The main reason we're here, we have new viewers. I see some new eyeballs popping on. Look at this, everybody. We're voting for the WEBBYS. We only have a few days left. It is the 15th. Voting is open until the 20th. If you're voting, if you have questions on voting, that's what we're here to do. We're only going to be here for a little bit longer, but we want to answer questions. We want to talk to people. We want to kind of celebrate the podcast and make sure to get out the word, because we really, really, really want to give this podcast the attention it deserves, because a lot of people have put a lot of time and blood, sweat, and tears into this entire production, both in front of and behind the mic. And it's really exciting for us to be nominated. We are up against a stacked category of people like Tom Hanks. Maybe you've heard of him. Netflix. Maybe you've heard of it. And we have a real fight here to be the People's Choice winner. But there is good news. We're in second place, at least as of the last time I looked. I don't know, Cody, if you've been peeking since we started. If we're
I have constantly.
Oh, he keeps clicking the refresh button.
I have.
And where are we right now, Cody?
We are unfortunately still in second place. Okay. But I have watched the percentages shift a little bit. Not in ours specifically, but I've noticed that, like, I'm wondering if it's actually we are moving the needle, but it's just not going up an entire percentage point yet.
Yeah. I mean, like I was saying the story earlier, that I texted a friend of mine. We were in second place. He voted within a matter of moment. Like, it was literally like the timing on this was, I went online, I saw we were in second place. I sent a text to my friend 10 seconds later. He said, "Cool, let me vote." 30 seconds later, he said, "You're in first place." That's how close this is, folks.
It's really, like, really, it keeps going back and forth, the percentages. Well, and the other thing too is with this voting, it's like us and Deadeyes, and that's it. Like, no, like everyone else is like 10% behind.
We've got a quarter of it. They've got a quarter of it, and then it's everybody else.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm gonna get an ulcer from this. Like, every time I just look at it, I'm like, come on.
The page.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! We have another cute comment. It's another. I don't know. We keep getting this comment.
I love that.
But that's so very lovely. So thank you for your comments and thank you for your votes. We're really trying to spread the good word and to get it out there. I have put a pause on my Italy vacation to come to all of you late at night when tomorrow I'm going out in Italy and exploring all over the place.
The man is in Italy right now, and he's taking the time to do a broadcast about this. Just humor him and vote for this thing if you haven't already. Come on.
just give the poor man a bone, huh? just throw him a bone.
Seriously, come on, guys. This is just. It's honestly though. This is just incredible. Like, all joking aside, like, I can't even believe that this is a real thing.
I know.
Like,
I was actually. It's funny. Not to cut you off. I was thinking about this earlier. I went to dinner just down the street from the hotel. I come back, and as I came back, I come inside. And I was thinking to myself, okay, now it's time to get ready for the WEBBYS broadcast where we're going to be asking people to vote for us in the WEBBYS. And like just that sentence and just saying all of that, you know, again, I said it earlier and we hear it all the time and it's a cliche phrase, but like it is an honor to be nominated. It really is. And it was especially so with the WEBBYS. The WEBBYS are stacked with A-listers. It's not just our category. It's the entire thing. You've got Conan O'Brien. You've got, you know, Amy Schumer. You've got all these huge A-listers that are nominated. A-listers that we would be sitting next to perhaps at the WEBBYS if we won. Could you imagine that?
Oh my gosh. That's just, it just feels so, podcasting is kind of unique in the sense that it's very kind of on an island. Like when you have a podcast, you kind of, there's a wall. Like you don't have this kind of back and forth that you do with other platforms. And so it's just really funny because like, I'm just some guy. Like, you know what I mean? Like this is crazy to me because it's just, it's almost like I don't even know if anybody's listening. Like I just made the thing. Like I got the audio together. That's all I did. And then I'm like, oh, we're nominated for I guess this is good then. Okay, cool. Yeah.
And we've seen that throughout this entire thing, right? You know, we saw the Fox News clip from earlier. We were on the front page of the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel and the homepage and all that, which was incredible. We've had some amazing exposure. We've had people from all over the world that have tuned in, have listened to this podcast, have made us a top 25, top 50, top 100 podcasts in the true crime category, all across the globe, and top 25, top 50 in over 10 countries, top 100 in another 10 or 15 countries. It's incredible. We're number 16 or something like that in Iceland right now.
18.
18, sorry, didn't mean to inflate our numbers. That's fake news. But yeah, it really is incredible to see how far this has come and to see how many people this has touched. And we're so thankful to all of the people that have given us their support up until this point. And we want to bring it home, right? We want to bring the WEBBY home. We want to bring it home to Cody so that Cody has something shiny for his shelf because he's been putting a lot of great work into this and so many other lovely podcasts. We want to bring the WEBBY home for Ashley and the Love family. We want to bring the WEBBY Wisconsin. We want to give some Wisconsin pride to this. Pretty much everybody that was involved with this thing, except for Cody.
Yeah, I'm in Salt Lake City. Yeah, not close at all.
Yeah, close enough. You know, but we this is something that does mean a lot to us from the hometown front as well, and we want to bring that WEBBY home. So you know, all we're asking for here is a wee little vote. And again, just to remind everybody, it's as easy as these 5 little steps. You click on the link; it's in the description. It's on all the posts that we've been sharing. You click vote for Love and Justice. You click the icon right next to the thing. And then you click sign up to vote. And you create an account with one of your social media accounts. And then you confirm that. You have to confirm it or the vote doesn't count. You can't just put in a bogus email. You can't do any of that. It's an honest category. It's an honest competition. They don't want any bots. They don't want any, you know, what do you call it? Poor tomfoolery in the voting.
I don't think they call it that.
That was the first thing that popped into my mind. Was poor tomfoolery.
That's the first thing that popped into your head.
I don't know why that was the first thing. Yes, we don't want any poor tomfoolery at the WEBBYS. No, we don't want any cheating, right? That's probably the better word.
Yeah, there you go. That's how they say it.
Yeah, we don't want any cheating, and so you got to verify, right? There's no spam. There's no getting on a mailing list. If you want to do that, you can go to our website, loveandjusticepodcast.com, and you can join all of our web. What am I trying to say?
Newsletter.
Yeah, thank you. Newsletter. Wow, all my words. It's getting late here, so the words are starting to escape me. But nonetheless, that's what we're asking for here. So if you're watching this, and I see people voting. I see people right now tuning in. The number, it keeps going up and down. So we really must get out there and vote. We are going to wrap this up in a few minutes, but before we do, I wanted to share one more little clip because I thought that'd be fun. This is a clip that I don't even think Cody's seen, so I'm very excited to see his reaction after the clip. But this was way back when we were first dreaming of this, back in the BC times, the before COVID times. And this is a little clip that talked about the podcast that we were getting ready to do and we were in the process of doing before COVID kind of took off and gave us a lovely yellow brick road of unexpected twists and turns that led into what ultimately became the podcast. But it's fun to check this out nonetheless, and it's a lovely clip from TMJ4. So check this out. Vote for the WEBBYS while you're watching this clip. We'll come back. We'll wrap this all up, but check this out.
A Cold Case Murder, a podcast, and a Los Angeles producer bound and determined to crack this case.
It sounds like the making of a Lifetime movie, but it's real life for a Milwaukee mom.
You think somebody knows something.
Oh, yeah. I definitely believe that.
Corinne Zell shows us the connection between the family and the producer that could help solve this murder.
It's been 10 years since someone broke into this home near 64th and Hampton while Ashley Love and her family slept. Someone shot and killed the 19-year-old in her bed, her parents not too far away.
Tammy Love surrounds herself with memories of her daughter Ashley, from her necklace to the centerpiece on her kitchen table, and pictures.
All the fun times we had together.
She vividly remembers the night her daughter was murdered.
It was a Monday night, and the Packers are playing Minnesota. It's like it's all etched in my head,
Tammy didn't hear the gun, but says she woke up abruptly.
Went to bed, next thing I know, and I truly believe this is when she died. I mean, I jolted out the bed, I could hear running on the steps.
She saw a man with a gun, a bandana covering his face.
I thought they were robbing us.
It wasn't a robbery. Tammy found her daughter, Ashley, shot in the head.
What I saw is etched in my head. Much as I try to get it out.
That was 10 years ago. No one has ever been arrested.
Did you ever think it would take this long?
Absolutely not.
Since then, Tammy's been on national crime shows and written a book. She was part of a documentary, Letters to Ashley, and now a podcast.
I really believe someone out there knows something.
Kyle Olson created the podcast. He also produced and directed the documentary.
We're putting this all together in hopes that we can actually find justice once and for all for this now 10-year cold case.
For Kyle, this is personal.
Kyle knew Ashley, and I think it's more meaningful to him.
He's from South Milwaukee and remains friends with Ashley's brother.
We have incredible access to the Love family and Ashley's friends that most podcasts don't really get.
Why do you think you and your team are in a position to possibly solve this murder?
It's interesting, by no means are we trying to overstep on what the police have done.
And what they're still doing. Milwaukee Police Detective James Hutchinson recently revisited Ashley's case.
It's a very unique situation. Somebody should be at complete and utter peace, sleeping in their own bed, and this type of violence occurs, and whoever does it vanishes.
There are currently 700 cold cases in the city of Milwaukee. Detective Hutchinson says each case is important.
We are still trying.
Do these murder mystery podcasts help you as a detective?
When this kind of thing comes up again, we enjoy people talking about these things because that could potentially generate leads that we didn't have before.
A retired cold case detective is part of this podcast team. They hope to reach people all over the country who might know something.
Murder mystery podcasts are very popular these days, and the hope is that we can use that platform.
Ashley's mom shares the same hope.
This is the last thing that we can do for her on this earth.
And has one request.
I'm just asking people if they know, just come forward, please. Please.
The podcast is set to be released soon. We have more information at TMJ4.com. Reporting in Milwaukee, Corinne Zell, today's TMJ4.
And right now on TMZ.
Pretty cool, huh?
Yeah, and so when did that air?
So this was early 2020.
Right, because that was like the time.
Yeah.
It's been a long time since you guys have
It's been a long time
started
since
this.
then, and
Yeah.
obviously a lot has changed and evolved and become even bigger than what we had initially kind of thought.
Yeah.
So it's cool to see kind of where it started as far as when we were first kind of starting to talk about it, and where we knew we were getting somewhere, and then obviously what it turned into, which is even more incredible. So yeah, it's quite cool. We have some questions coming in as we're here on our Webby party, and so I'd love to go into these questions. This one is from Kelly, and it says, can you share some behind the scenes moments or challenges that you faced while producing the podcast? Maybe talk a bit about how the podcast was created. I talked a little bit about this earlier in that the podcast took years. We were just kind of talking about that now even. But I would love to hear, and I don't even know, I mean, we've talked about it a little bit, but I'd kind of be curious to hear a little bit from Cody as to what was it like editing this? This was your first true crime podcast.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, maybe I can even just talk about how kind of we found each other.
Yeah.
Actually, no, you should tell me because I'm not even sure I am 100%.
Okay, so here I'll set the table and then you can put down the main course.
There you go. Yeah.
The way this came out was, this was obviously a few years ago at this point now, but I had put up a post on a local podcasting community Facebook page, whatever it was. And I said, hey, I'm looking for a true crime editor. And I asked a bunch of questions in like a Google form, and a bunch of people came in with responses. And you were one of, I don't know, let's say 50 people that responded.
Wow.
And I go through all of these different ones. And this one says, I've worked on 12 different true crime podcasts, and I've worked on 50 different true crime podcasts, and this and that. And I got to yours, and it's like, I've never worked on true crime before, but I'll be damned if I won't put my all into this thing. And then you listed why. And I don't remember off the top of my head what exactly you said, but the way you worded it and the experience you had before and the way you answered all these questions stood out from the rest. And then I went to your website, and your website was amazing. You are like a superhero on your website. The craft,
It worked.
It totally worked. What you have in your advertising is totally working. And it definitely, it draws people in. You have a very inviting page and face, and it all totally. But no, it was the last thing I needed to see to be like, this is our guy. He's the one that's going to do this.
See, and that's so interesting to me because, like, I've asked myself many times, like, I have no idea why he like, honestly, like, I had all the audio experience necessary. Like, that was never the issue.
That was very clear.
Yeah, but I was like, he clearly, I mean, he told me he found like tons of other people that could easily have done what I did. And I'm just like, I've always kind of been like, I don't know, this is crazy. It feels like a crazy like fate thing that I just even
think
hear.
There was a bit of fate there, but I think it was also just that, like, I was looking for somebody that, like, in a perfect world, you're looking for somebody that has true crime experience, right? But what I was looking for was really more beyond that, because at the end of the day, the fact that it's true crime or not is kind of irrelevant, right?
That's true, yeah.
How do you put together the story? How are you editing this? What are you prioritizing? How are you telling the story? It's a sensitive story. Have you dealt with sensitive topics before? And you would check all those boxes with flying colors, and you would put those in your examples, your portfolio, your resume. People had talked wonders about you on your website, your testimonials, all of the places where it counted in the experience. It came through like without any hesitation. So the fact that you had no true crime podcast experience, well, sure, you didn't have any true crime podcasts, but you had plenty of experience. And it was like, all right, well, and also, I'll be completely honest, there was also a little part of me that was like, well, maybe he'll work just like a little bit harder because he's never done a true crime.
And I did.
You
were exactly right.
And now look at us. We're nominated for a Webby Award.
Well, and here's the real thing here. In some ways, this is barely your traditional true crime podcast. And I think that in a way, I kind of think that works because like the way it worked, because I didn't really treat this like a true crime podcast. Like because of the way that, I mean, the family is so involved, them, and this is not just some third party that we're researching. Like, this is like people that you went to school with, and like this is just different. It's not your classic true crime podcast. And I think some people have been like, that's why they haven't loved it or whatever. But in some ways, I'm like, that's kind of what I've been so fascinated about, is that it isn't your classic story. It's in some ways like even more compelling because you're like right there. You were in the middle of all of this.
Yeah, we're in the thick of it in this podcast.
Yeah,
right?
and so I, during the actual editing and stuff, it was I really did. I had worked on some smaller kind of documentary type stuff, sort of like short limited series, like maybe 3 episodes kind of thing. But nothing to this scale, nothing bringing in, what was it, 60 hours of audio or more?
It was a lot of audio.
It was a lot. And it was one of those, like, I kind of learned as I went. Like I'd get a couple episodes in and go, oh, you know what? Starting now I need to do this, and starting now I need to do this, or I need to organize things differently. And it was a lot of kind of learning as I went, but oh man, like it's been amazing to work on something like this, because not only is the actual, like, it's been a really good learning experience, but also, like, I don't think I've ever worked on something that I've felt so like invested in the subject matter. Like most of my clients are like, you can lose weight if you like, it's like life coaches and whatever. Like, sure, like yeah. But this is like, I really am now. I'm like, I want to get this solved. I want to like help and pitch. Like, you can't help but kind of feel that way when you start hearing about this story, and you just start being like, well, what did happen, and what should we, and you start maybe doing some Google searches yourself, and it's just contagious. You want something, learning about so much about Ashley's life and about her family and stuff. You're like, I want to help. I want to do something. And so I just want to thank you for letting me in on that and be able to do that, because it's just been incredible.
Yeah, well, you've been incredible to work with as well, and this entire process has been such a pleasure because, it's clear that you know what you're doing, and I'm picky. I go in and I listen to every word and every syllable. Wait a second, this isn't right, and then Cody's like, oh, Kyle, and it's picky.
He's way less picky than he thinks he is. You would be shocked at some of the other clients I have. If you think you're picky, some of my other clients, you'd be like, okay, now. That's a little much, dude. Yeah.
No, but it's been a neat journey, and like you said, it does kind of suck you in, right?
Yeah.
And you do want to see justice, and you do want to see this, and that is
like my wife when once we had episodes up, she would be texting me like, so what do you think? Like, she would like be texting me theories.
She wants the inside
mom. Really though, like you can't. It just is so contagious. You just want to know what happened and to get this solved for Ashley.
I'm glad you brought up your wife, because look who just commented on us. There she is. Also one of the voice actors in Love and Justice.
Yes,
so
she was.
Amanda, shout out to you. She says it's incredible how much coverage you guys have been able to get for her and to bring awareness. And I could not agree more. And again, that is the testament to so many people that have worked so hard to bring this whole thing together. And that is what we're here kind of celebrating today. We are nominated for a Webby. The hard work has paid off, and we're very, very excited to be here. We are so close. We are neck and neck. I see more people tuning in right now. We have a bunch of new compelling members of our audience that are listening. And if you're listening for the first time and you haven't voted, take 30 seconds right now. You have 30 seconds. You're on social media. The fact that you're on Facebook or YouTube or Twitter, Instagram right now tells us that you have a few seconds. So take those few seconds, click the voting link in the description, click Vote on Love and Justice, sign up, get an account, and confirm the vote. If you don't confirm it, they'll think that you're a bot or that you're cheating, and we need you to confirm that vote. That is a very important part of this process as well.
We're up against Tom Hanks and Netflix here.
I mean, the competition could not be more stacked, and we're in second place, but it keeps switching. We go from first to second to first to second. We've been literally watching the numbers in some of the other categories change in real time now. We're that close. I'm seeing even more people joining us right now. Guys, this is the time. If you haven't voted for us, this is the time to vote. Oh my gosh, Amanda coming in here asking a very important question
that we have not mentioned. We mentioned it once at the very beginning, but never since.
Yeah, the voting here, it closes on April 20th. Today is the 15th. That means we're only a few days away and we're in second place. And it's by a very close margin. So even if we do leap into first place again, which I am very optimistic that we will, especially with all of our dedicated listeners and viewers and followers, we got to keep the momentum. We got to keep in the lead. And that's not easy. That's easier said than done. So
so you know what? It doesn't matter when the voting closes. Go vote right now. Do not wait another minute, because you're going to forget and you're going to go, oh, that was this week, wasn't it? Ooh.
Yes, this is a common thing we do on the internet, right? Like, I'll come back to that later. No,
This is a common thing I do on the internet. I do that constantly.
All the time. Guilty
Yes.
as charged. But this is why we're all here right now. We're giving everybody the opportunity and the platform to come on right now and say, take 30 seconds. You're watching us right now. You've been listening to us talk. I just saw a spike of viewership. Hopefully all those spikes of viewers are going to vote if they haven't already. And if you have voted, you're not off the hook either. You know why? Because we could use your help as well. You can get out the word. You can tell friends. You can tell colleagues. You can tell people that you're on Facebook groups with. You can tell your church knitting group or your bread baking group or your.
That's a very specific example that you've used twice now.
I don't know. I don't have a bread or church knitting group. You can tell your trivia pals if you go to trivia.
You know what? Everybody's in a group chat of at least a handful of people.
Oh.
Just throw it in there.
Throw it in there. Because what's one more text in the group chat?
That's when you put it that way.
No, but really.
Yeah, seriously.
How can we get creative? Do you know some people that know more people? Tell those people. Get out the vote. Right?
Especially, I would say, especially if they either know about Ashley or the case, if they are interested in true crime in general, or if they don't like Tom Hanks or something.
This is where attention, all Pius School alumni. Ashley Love went to Pius, and this is your chance to step up as an alumni. Help us get this case the national attention that it deserves. The Webby up here for grabs. We're in second place. We're so close. I see a spike. Do you think all the Pius alumni heard me just now? My attention.
My people need me.
Do you think they all were like, oh? But anyway, oh my gosh. Once again, we have received another comment. It's our favorite comment of the day. It just keeps coming back. Oh,
I don't know what they mean.
I don't know either, but nonetheless, I'm touched.
I love it.
We do have a few more questions here as we're kind of wrapping this up because we won't be here forever, but that doesn't mean you can't vote forever. Well, you can't vote forever, but you can vote until April 20th, which is just a few days away. So don't delay. Vote today.
That's good. That rhymes and everything. That's nice.
That's right. Susan says, if you win the Webby Award, what impact do you think it will have on the podcast, the stories you tell, and the pursuit of justice?
Well, we did kind of go over this, but I mean, for anyone that's just coming in now, like we mentioned, like some podcasts actually have solved cases in the past. That is something that has happened and does still happen. So a case getting an award like this, and this is a big award if you're not aware. This is like a national, global people are nominated. This is a huge deal. So
We're
the fact that
A-listers.
Big time. Like, go if you've already voted, go check out some of the other categories and the people that you'll recognize names. Like, this is not just a group of indie, independent, whatever. Like, this is like people that you've heard of getting nominated. This is a big deal, and getting this amount of attention on a case like this can provide additional resources. It can convince people that, oh, I'm about to get caught, I need to confess before something happens, or give more information because they finally figure out that, like, you know, maybe they know something and have been holding back. Maybe they're going to see this and be like, maybe I should say something. This could really affect a lot of people at this point. So it's
that extra momentum that really would make all the difference, right?
Yeah,
we
big
see
time.
this all the time, especially in the podcast field. You look at Serial, you look at Up and Vanish, you look at these podcasts. It really can make all the difference.
Yeah, big time.
Sarah coming in with the question, how do you maintain a balance between sharing stories sensitively and creating compelling content that listeners will engage with? This might be my favorite question. This is a really good question because it is something that we worked very tirelessly on throughout the entire course of the podcast. It is a podcast. You do want it to be entertaining. You don't want to lose people. But at the same time, you do want to handle it sensitively because we're dealing with incredibly sensitive stuff. And any true crime podcast deals with sensitive stuff. But this one in particular, especially with how I was involved with the story, made it even more sensitive than ever. And you kind of mentioned this earlier, Cody, but like this is kind of what separates us from a lot of the other true crime podcasts that are out there, right? Like this is what kind of separates us from very different styled true crime. There's many different genres and subgenres of true crime. And for some people that might not be their cup of tea. They want all the juicy dirt and juicy gossip. And for others, they kind of like the slow burn. They like the fact that every episode we get a little bit deeper. We talk to somebody, we go a little more one-on-one, and we go probing, where maybe, people might think, that's nothing, but a few episodes later comes back around, right? And that's kind of the beauty and speaks to the beauty of what we're actually nominated for. We are ultimately nominated, right? We are ultimately nominated for an episode of the podcast that is really kind of the melting pot. It's the climax of the season where all of these theories, all of these thoughts, all of these guests from all these different walks of life, some who have never met, we put all of these theories together. We mash everything together. And in doing so, put together a very compelling story and paint a very interesting portrait of what could have actually happened to Ashley Love. So to answer this question, which is a good one that I've almost kind of forgot, how do you maintain a balance between sharing stories sensitively and creating compelling content? The answer is you hire Cody Crabb.
Oh, you're so nice. I'm going to clip that. I'm going to clip that and put that on my website.
Yeah, exactly. But it's true. And all the more reason we deserve the Webby, not just for the reasons we've already listed, because you also deserve this Webby win, just like all of us. But I am curious because, I don't even know if we've really talked about this. What is it like for you when you are in the cutting room? And I say the cutting room like it's a different room from the room you're in right now.
It's literally this exact chair, honestly.
It's a phrase, But when you're editing this together, how do you go about figuring out where does the music make sense versus where does it not? And how do you keep that balance?
Well, to me, I think sometimes a story tells itself. And it's very like it just kind of, when you tell the story, it's just there. But this story in particular, because we don't know the ending, is kind of we kind of have to craft it ourselves, and we kind of have to do some speculation. We have to do some kind of walking around and kind of observing and things like that during the story. And so I think there's a lot of times I actually have a background in music production and kind of composing. I wanted to be a film composer. So that music is like a big thing with like, if you want someone to feel a certain way during a certain thing, you show them, you play them the music that will make them feel that way. And so it can be a tightrope walk of like, I don't want to turn this into like, I use the example of like, I think this podcast is like, this podcast is more like a well-crafted like TV series that you need to watch from beginning to end. It's not necessarily like, I say that as we're nominated for best individual episode, but it's like, I think you need to really get the full picture to really care about the characters. You can't just watch one episode of The Office. You need to know who these people are, and like that's why it gets extra special, because you know the characters and what their motivations are and stuff. But some true crime is like they just want to tell you kind of what happened, and that's it. But this story is so, by the time episode 12 hits, you care so much about Ashley and her family that I think that's one of the reasons it's as special as it is, because it's just so it really pulls you in, because I think you did a really good job during your interviews especially, and then this is something I focused on as well, is trying to make sure that like we brought her to life in the early parts of the podcast, so that you know who she is and care about her, and then when everything happens, it's that much more impactful because you basically feel like you know her at that point.
Yeah. And that was, pardon me, that was important early on for us, was that we wanted to make sure that Ashley wasn't just a name, right?
Yeah.
We wanted audiences, by the time the first episode was done, to be like, I understand Ashley. And by the time the second episode was done, to be like, I like Ashley. And by the time the third episode was done, to be like, I love Ashley. Like,
that's I honestly, working on it, I definitely agreed that that's exactly how I felt.
Like, that was the goal. Going in, we knew that we had to paint this portrait of Ashley, but it's more than just painting the picture, right? It's actually making people understand. And you can't just do that by saying in a sentence or two, these things that we know. You have to show it. You have to let it kind of play out. And like you said, the story kind of has to tell itself in a way, right? Where you have to let these people that know Ashley and have, worked with her and lived with her and, were her friends and what have you, let that come through. And I think that's a beautiful thing, and something you did a very good job balancing throughout the entire podcast. So,
well, and you yourself too, you act like I did all the work there, but we did there was a lot of teamwork with kind of making sure that when a story was told, that it included kind of all the pieces that you need to have a complete picture and really care about all the characters, for lack of a better word.
Yeah, exactly. No, and that's an important part in telling the whole story, right? Is that you got to make sure that you cover all your bases.
Yeah.
So to speak, right? But that's good. For those of you that are just joining us, and I see some are, we are here kind of wrapping up what has been the last lovely 90 minutes of Mr. Cody Crabb and I talking about Love and Justice, the podcast, the true crime hit that's been around the world on the top 25, top 50, top 100, top 200,
top 18 in Iceland.
Top 18 in Iceland right now. Top charts wherever you are. And we're celebrating, a little bit about the fact that we have a Webby nomination, and we are asking for your votes. We would love for you to take 30 seconds of your time, maybe right now, and click on the voting link that's in the description and vote for Love and Justice. It makes you sign up for an account. You can link it with your social. It's very easy. Confirm that account, because if you don't confirm it, the vote goes nowhere. You got to make sure that you actually confirm it. We got a few more people that are chiming in with some comments here. This one here is from Michael. He's like, our king is live. I don't know. I'm assuming you do.
Yeah, he's my he's friend from long time. We're college roommates, lots of stuff, and those are our other buddies. So yes.
See, look at that. Look at the love coming in. Well, Michael, I hope that you and all your friends, all your roommates, all your family are voting. Send text to everybody you know. It looks like he's even, look at this. He's even tagging other people.
I know.
He's tagging Morgan.
He's like
Morgan.
that.
It's like Cody has a Webby nomination, so you need to vote. Yes, you need to vote, Morgan. We're putting you on the spot, Morgan.
Yeah, it's so frustrating that it's like trying to get anybody to do anything online is so hard. Like, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Oh man.
People like to click a button and be done with it, and that's even asking a lot sometimes. Like,
it is.
Hit the share button is hard, right? But getting people to push 5 or 6 buttons is exceptionally difficult.
It's almost impossible. And so, you know what? Prove us wrong.
We know people care. We know people are rooting us on. And you don't want to be that one person that, if God forbid, we're in second place when this all ends. And you're like, oh, was it me? I should
by one vote.
It could have been one vote. We've literally seen it happen already.
The Webbies told us that happens. That has happened. Yeah.
We've seen it happen. We were told by the Webbies that we have literally seen the difference between a winner and a loser is one vote. Don't let that vote be you.
Oh, man.
You don't want that. I know, right? Oh, my gosh. Oh,
yeah.
Michael coming in here. Wasn't me. I voted.
He just wants it on the record if we don't win.
We appreciate that, Michael. But, Michael, have you told others to vote? How many people have you told to vote? Oh,
he's one of those people, though. You do a thing, he's like, he's like the only one.
In the world. We need more Michaels. Well, cheers to
Love you, man.
We celebrate you, and we thank you for all your support and for all of you that have been watching. There's been a lot of people that have been giving us emojis, like my favorite one. No, really, it's been lovely spending this time out here answering questions and talking to the crowd and doing the whole thing. And it's been kind of fun. And also, this is the most time Cody and I have spent
literally
the entire time.
Yeah,
which has
that's
also
true.
been lovely. And maybe we should make a new spinoff where you and I just talk about, I don't know, whatever, the
Podcasts we've made.
yeah, I guess that could be kind of cool. WEBBYS and stuff. That'd be very cool. But yeah, so I think this is the point where we all start to say our farewells. But if you haven't voted yet, one more time, here it is. This is it, folks. You vote here. You can still vote after this ends. This is not the end of the voting period. We still got a few more days. April 20th at midnight is when it all comes down. I don't know what time zone it is. So best to get your votes in before then, right?
Like right now.
like at the very moment in time.
Yes.
Because there's no time like the present, as they say. And if you're watching this a little bit later, why not do it now instead? Because now we'll still be, you know what I mean. Yeah, please give us a vote. That's all we're asking for here. It takes 30 seconds of your time, and then you can go back to watching your cat videos and your TikToks and everything else. But it would mean the world to us. It would give this case an opportunity to have some unique, rare national attention, which really could bring about an exciting resolution. And it would be incredible to see all these people that have worked so hard, both in front of and behind the microphone, a well-deserving win for this Webby Award, which is a huge award up against A-listers. We're up against Netflix. We're up against Tom Hanks. And we're in second place, less than a percentage point. This much separates the two of us. So if you can, give us
You
that
better
vote.
run, Forrest.
You've
like that?
been waiting all day to you. You're waiting till the end too, weren't you? You're like,
A little
you
bit.
better run for it. But really, it's been lovely being with all of you. It's been lovely being with you, Cody. This has been an absolute thrill. I hope people take our word and our advice. I hope all the people that have been saying they're going to vote and all the people that have been sending us likes and emojis and all that, I hope they go out and actually, do the thing because we really need your love and support. And we're so close. The more people you share it with, the closer we'll get. Hopefully we can, close the margin and even maybe take a nice lead. That would be really cool. So please get out there and vote. Final thoughts, Cody? Anything else?
I really want to win Webby. I do. I'm not gonna lie. That would be the coolest thing.
Wouldn't that be something?
So
That'd
please.
be a nice thing for your portfolio, wouldn't it?
Oh man. Like I can't even stress enough how cool that would be. So just please, just real quick. And if you live in a house with other people, like just take a few minutes and just grab their phones and just go to this website. Just honestly, it would mean a lot to both of us. I know it would. And thank you very
And there's
much.
so many others too. Like it really, it would mean a lot. So, like you said, it's hard to get people to do actionable items on the internet sometimes. But the fact that you're watching, the fact that you're out there voting, it does mean the world to us. And we do not take this for granted. Even when we were in first place, which we were as of yesterday and the day before yesterday. But even when we were in first place, Cody and I and others were texting. It's like, but we can't take it for granted, right? And we don't take it for granted. We don't take any of these votes for granted. We really, really do appreciate every single one. And we know that your time is valuable, which is why it's nice to know that this doesn't take that long at all. So take a few seconds today if you can and give us a vote. And then you can get back to your Saturday or your Sunday or whenever you're watching this. But before April 20th. Hopefully we'll bring the Webby home and make you all proud, huh?
Well, enjoy Italy, I guess. I'm just gonna go like do a Saturday afternoon in Utah, and you're going to be in Italy. So there you go.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm going to bed now, basically.
Well, sure, yeah, but you're still in Italy.
But I'm still in Italy. I'll be dreaming of pasta, and then I'll wake up and have some. It was funny. The other day, I was talking to a local here, and I was like, is there a good place for pasta around here? And he's like. And I said, "Oh, that's right. You have pasta every day." And he goes, "No. He goes, "Not multiple times, just once a day.
That's literally like a moment from like a movie. That's incredible.
Yeah, right. It's just like
it's everything.
everywhere, you know. Oh my gosh! Before we leave, just a few quick last minute. Look at this. Laura coming in. Will this live podcast be available to watch later?
I guess
we will, Laura.
I guess we kind of are doing a podcast, aren't we? I didn't really think of it. That way.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. I didn't even realize that you used the word podcast. But yes, this live stream, podcast, video, whatever you want to call it, it will be available. So you can watch it later. You can show it to your friends. You can share it with everybody. So get out there and vote. Tell everybody to vote. You can watch. You can learn a little bit about the podcast. You can see the videos that we shared today. Some of the that we had to dig out of the archives, which is kind of fun, but nonetheless. So that's very, very cool. And this is a nice one to finish with. Think of how much awareness this could get for her case if you guys win.
I can't even.
Amanda says it best.
Yeah, I can't even imagine. Like this is one of those things where like I don't know. I honestly don't know what could happen if this ends up being a thing. Like if we win this, like anything could happen after that. So
Michael says maybe it's the Kyle and Cody show. Might be onto something there, but no, it really is interesting to think about, and it would be incredible. There's a lot of things I can think about that would all be really cool and all be really positive, and not just career wise and support wise, but also justice wise and bringing this case to a closure.
Absolutely,
there's so many different things that could really be done with this. So it could be really, really something. So get out there and vote if you haven't done so already. Thank you again for all of your support. Big hugs to you all. And, hopefully we'll see you when we're at the Webby Awards here shortly.
We will be.
That's right. We gotta
watch your back, Captain Phillips.
I'm the captain now. Look at
yeah, we are the captain now.
We're the captains now. That's right. Very good. Well, Cody, thanks for your time today. This has been absolutely lovely. You know what that music means? That means our time here is done.
Take care.
Make sure to vote, everybody. We'll see you soon.
Have a good night.
Good night from Italy.